You want me to put that on my Tudor?
This one's wife. Financial ruin imminent. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Money is generally important to somatic narcissists. There are lots of different factors that support the somaticism of a narcissist. Looks, the way that their body is, preferring material items, showing off a fancy home, for example, going on swanky holidays, being seen in trendy places, utilization of social media to promote themselves, and money. Certain somatic narcissists are preoccupied with money, even though they don't have any. Some somatic narcissists have lots of money, but are tight with it, or might engage in financial largesse, part of their grandiosity, showering money, which enables them to control people and draw responses from them. It also enables the management of the facade. Most somatic narcissists have a fixation with money in some shape or form, and that is just as applicable to this one's wife. Money is hugely important to her as a residual benefit that enables her to control people so that she can afford PR puff pieces, that she can afford expensive, albeit ill-fitting clothing, inappropriate jewellery, and so she can triangulate people with that so that they admire or comment upon it. It enables her to pay for security that wanders around with her, again part of that image of looking important and notable with the expectation that heads will turn. Although, of course, if we saw the recent parking lot pap walk, a lady walked past her and didn't even give her a first glance, never mind a second one. This one's wife earned a reasonable living when she was in Suits, but she wasn't wealthy. She has become wealthy as a consequence of marrying Prince Gingerbollocks, latching onto his money, which of course then becomes her money, and the fact that it has enabled her, through having been in the royal family, to extract money from Netflix and Spotify on the basis of her having something brilliant to tell the world. Now those organisations have realised that there isn't that much to reveal and that she's not one who's prone to industry. Financial problems are clearly evident. There doesn't appear to be much of an income. There doesn't appear to be anything in the pipeline, despite this one's wife making vague noises about there being an exciting pipeline. And we know that they have significant overheads. Is financial ruin imminent? Well, quite possibly it is. As you know, one of the things that I invariably direct you to is evidence. And an individual who posts by the name of Some Speculation has gone into a degree of detail to analyse the financial position for this one's wife and Harry for 2024. They posted in the subreddit, saying this one's wife. They use her full name, as you know. I do not. And I'm going to go through what this individual has suggested to determine what impact this may well have on this one's wife. Some speculation states that, pursuant to the Netflix contract, Netflix agreed to pay them £2 million to £4 million a year as a retainer. This didn't include any production expenses, which would have included flights, hotel stays, transportation, food, possibly security for their Harry and this one's wife content, and possibly Heart of Invictus. They also agreed to make contributions to Archwell. Some speculation queries that this may well explain why Archwell's staff and Netflix cameras went everywhere with them, especially in 2020 to 2022, when they were filming the docuseries. There is essentially an entire season 2, thriving in America, of footage that was never used. All of their trips theoretically could have been expensed to Netflix then. Repeated trips to New York, Uvalde, Wyoming on July the 4th, Harry's Texas rodeo appearance, whatever Invictus didn't pick up for their expenses in The Hague, or their faux roiling German tour. Perhaps this is how Archwell Productions was paying salaries, via Netflix money, indirectly. It would explain, for instance, why they were able to land and pay Ben Browning before he took off after his one-year contract was up. But the retainer is only for the first 2 years. So that would cover September 2020 to 2021 and 2021 to 2022, which means no more retainer for 2022 to 2023. And notice how they had nothing for most of 2023 beyond 3-4 lot PAP walks or the Invictus Centre Bali expense trips. And note that in 2022, according to Archwell's 990, they didn't donate to either organisation. So, some speculation deduces that there was actually no Netflix retainer covering the 2022-2023 period. 2023 was Heart of Invictus, using footage from the year before. No Netflix project slated from them for 2024. The Netflix contract formally ends in 2025. Plus, theirs was the Golden Globes mocking about getting paid millions by Netflix for doing nothing. And that then was a cut to the Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos shrugging affably and laughing along. Some speculation queries: might Netflix push something out with them in 2024 or end their contract early for non-delivery? So the suggestion is that they've been paid 2 years' worth of retainer in the region of $2 to $4 million, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a huge amount when you've got a large mortgage, security costs, PR puff pieces to cover, ill-fitting clothing to purchase, jewellery, etc., etc. Some speculation also points to the fact that the Frogmore lease wasn't reviewed. Now, because this isn't income, but it suggested that this was perhaps a sign in 2023 that they were already seriously low on funds and had no future income to then cover this expense. In 2020, information indicated they paid back money from the sovereign grant used for renovations. In 2022, there was a February press release which indicated they renewed their lease for another year, which means the lease would expire in February 2023, which would then mean it would be up for renewal in 2023 and had nothing to do with spare and an eviction. In 2023, in March, a press release suddenly indicates that the money paid was not just for renovations, but was a lump sum to include renovations and rent. This would save the Sussexes around £800,000. The palace also confirmed that they did pay rent for 5 months, suggesting therefore there was some form of rental agreement in place. Some speculation queries: did they give up Frogmore because they couldn't afford to renew the lease, and it was just agreed upon PR with regard to the reasons that were provided? Next, WME, been in situ for almost 9 months with no confirmed large-scale contracts. We've seen various instances of this one's wife attempting to manifest them and people immediately suggesting, no, we're not in talks. Next, there's Penguin Random House. No other books have yet been confirmed. It was supposed to be a 4-book deal, but they've only published Spare since announcing the deal in 2021. Plus, the proceeds were supposed to go to charity. Currently, there's no evidence of this beyond a one-time donation, which was a tiny fraction of the advance. If Harry were to profit personally from it, beyond his initial advance, he'd be lining his own pockets instead of giving it to those in need, as publicly pledged. The suggestion, as per Entertainment Tonight in 2023, was that he received $35 to $40 million, but this was never confirmed by Penguin Random House. The article floats an Invictus book, which hasn't been confirmed, and it's not likely because Harry gave that content already to Netflix, and it flopped. So it'd be unlikely that they would be looking to do something around an Invictus book. Then also suggested that this one's wife and Harry sell the Monty Shit Show house for income, or just to cut down on their largest expense, their mortgage. Annual taxes are also approximately $144,000 per year, split into 2 payments. Their monthly mortgage could be around $35,000. So combined with taxes, they're paying out somewhere in the region of $500,000 to $550,000 per year just on mortgage and taxes. The conclusion is, how are they going to pay their basic living expenses this year? Do they have any confirmed future income, future contracts, projects as of January 2024? And therefore, could this be their financial demise? That financial ruin awaits them. Some speculation provides evidence there, which is food for thought. You can, by looking at the activity, see outgoings are high, PR pieces, clothing, transport using private jets, jewellery, security costs, mortgage, and then the day-to-day living expenses. This one's wife has become accustomed to the high life and won't want to let that go, because a loss in status of that nature would amount to a threat to control, so her narcissism will cause her to cling on. Ultimately, of course, if there isn't any money, she's going to have to go and find it. And that's why I've stated previously that the likely driver to cause her to seek out somebody else and ditch Harry is that residual benefit, that she's become so accustomed to a level of living that she will use that as a reason to get rid of Harry when he can't provide it any longer, and to go and seek it from somebody else who can. Whether she's able to ensnare anybody remains to be seen. But it does appear that unless something alters, they are in a financial pickle. They have very high overheads. We know that the inheritance money that Harry has had will have been running out, and there really doesn't appear to be anything in the pipeline. They're not making any Netflix content that might release further monies, and it's not going to be too far from when that contract ends. And Netflix must now be looking at it thinking it was a bit of a bum steer ultimately, and we're not looking to do anything more with them. We'll terminate the contract as soon as we possibly can and not pay them anything more. Nobody else is lining up. This one's wife thought that Audible would come a-knocking. They didn't. That Archetypes 2 hasn't manifested. The much-vaunted blog has not got off the ground. Poop, as it ought to be called. There are no fashion houses or cosmetic giants beating a path to her door. And therefore, it really does seem that based on this information provided by some speculation and being able to look at the situation as one can see it in terms of level of obvious outgoings with no pipeline, neither of them have proper jobs. What's Harry doing? Is he setting up some company that's going to suddenly provide them with a fortune? No, he's not. They're just drifting along, expecting somebody else to provide for them. And it seems to me that the money is going to run out, which will precipitate Harry's disengagement. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.